What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, back to Mazdas and me. Today in the workshop I've got my 2016 Mazda CX-5 and today it's due a service. It's done 75,000 miles now, so I'm going to throw a set of new spark plugs in, an oil filter, air filter, and I'm using genuine Mazda parts on this, being that it's my daily car. So I'll take you along for the ride. You can see how to do it. Maybe it'll help you guys out if you've got any problems or stuck. If you've got any questions, drop any comments in the box and I'll answer them. Okay guys, so these are the parts that I'm using. You've got the genuine Mazda oil, which is for the Sky Active engines, the 020. You've got a pollen filter. Again, this is a genuine Mazda part, and there's the part number for you should you wish to get it. I'm using a set of Bosch Iridium spark plugs, and the part number for that, if it's on here, is there. Genuine Mazda oil filter, not cheap, but you know, want to put the best parts in it, and the part number for that is just there. And finally we've got the genuine Mazda air filter element, and there's the part number for that. Right, okay, so here's the car. Just give you a little quick look at it. It's in good condition for a 2016 model. Full leather interior, and this is the Sport Nav mode model. So you've got the 2-litre engine, comes with all the toys. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get the car, get it up in the air. You don't want to get it off the ground too much. These have got quite a bit of ground clearance already, so all I've done is just stick it up on a small set of wooden ramps that I made. This will keep the car a little bit more level as well for when the oil's draining out of it. So get the car up, get the bonnet open, and we'll crack on and I'll show you where to start. Okay guys, so under the car, where the driver's wheel is, you'll see this inspection panel. Now, it's held on with clips and a couple of Phillips head screws. These clips just go into the holes there and they're prone to breaking, so be really careful when you're using a flathead screwdriver to prise them out. And my advice for removing the two screws that are in there is don't use a Phillips head screwdriver on there. Use an 8mm socket instead, so that you don't risk damaging the head of the screw. So once that's undone and you take it off, you're gonna then see access to the sump filler there, and obviously your oil filter right in front here, so it's nice and easy to get to. Okay, so all we need to do is undo this, undo the filter, drain the oil out, and then we'll go from there. So next up we're going to fill it up with some oil, guys. Little tip for you: when you get the new oil filter, make sure you put a little bit of oil into that first before you screw it up, so that it's pre-filled. And the oil I'm using, as I said earlier, is the genuine Mazda Supra X original oil. So the car takes about 4.2 litres of oil, so I'll fill it up probably with about 3.5 litres, and then when the car's down nice and level on the ground, I'll top it up to the correct level on the dipstick. So let's get the oil in it and then we'll crack on. Alright guys, so I'm going to leave the oil filling for the time being now till the car's back down on the ground nice and level, and then we can just top it up to the full mark. At the minute it's just between sort of middle to low, so I'll wait till it's on the ground nice and level and then we'll finish it then. Right, okay, with the oil change done, next up we're going to change the spark plugs on the car. So, fairly simple job to do again. You're going to need to take this engine cover off first. It's literally just held in place by lugs that just push down into holes underneath. So all you need to do is literally just pull up on it at the front and the back. And then you can remove the cover. And that will reveal the engine. Okay, here's a better look at the top of the engine. So in order to change the spark plugs, we need to remove the coil packs. It's got individual coil packs on each cylinder. What you're going to need to do is remove the 8mm bolt that is on the top of each one and unplug the electrical connector from each coil pack. So we'll take that off and then I'll come back to you once they're done. Okay, so once them 8mm screws have been removed, the bolts from the top of the coil packs, they simply will just lift out. Okay, so you're going to take all of them out, and the spark plug itself, probably can't see it, but is in the cylinder down there. So we'll take them out, grab the new spark plugs, apply a little bit of copper slip to the threads of the spark plugs, the new ones. Bit of anti-seize just so that in the future, if ever they're changed, they're not going to sort of be too difficult to undo. They're not going to seize into the head. Okay, so I'm going to get these out, put the new plugs in and come back to you. Right guys, so I thought I'd show you just taking out the last one. They're all the same. So once you've undone the bolt, lift out the coil pack, as you can see there, and then we can take the plug out. It's best to always get your socket on the bar, feed it onto the plug first without having the ratchet attached. Make sure it's seated well, then go ahead and grab your ratchet and undo the plug, taking care not to go too mad with it. I like to undo it a little bit and then just tighten it back up just a little bit, just to clean the threads a little bit before fully undoing it. So loosen it up, and then I find once it's a lot done by hand, you can just take off the ratchet. You've got much more control. Just spin it off with your hands, keeping it nice and straight. Undo it until it's all of the way out of the head. And then, as I've not got a 14mm spark plug socket, I'm just using a magnet just to grab the end of the plug and just lift it straight out. As I said earlier, a little bit of anti-seize on the thread of the new plug, just to stop it seizing in there in future. And a little tip that I use is a piece of hose, put it over the top of the plug so you can feed it into the top of the head without cross-threading it. So grab your plug, carefully lower it down, feed it into the head, and then slowly, by hand, turn the plug into the head, making sure you're not cross-threading it, which using the piece of hose should really help. So start to spin it on, get it seated into the head, remove your piece of hose, then take your socket by hand again, seat it onto the top of the plug, and again do it by hand, just turning slowly, turning it into the head until you feel a little bit of resistance where it's starting to seat. So I'm starting to get there now. So as soon as you get to that point, take your torque wrench, pop that on, tighten up to 16 foot-pounds. Tighten it till you hear it click. Just there. Remove your torque wrench and that plug's installed. You can now take your coil pack, take that, refit it on top of your new plug. Make sure it's pushed down and seated well. And then the final steps is the 8mm bolts to secure the coil packs down. And finally, take your plugs for each one and just plug them back in. Last one, just get them started by hand, and then we'll grab the socket, 8mm, just to nip them up in place. Don't need to go overly tight with these, it's just literally just to hold them in place. Okay, so they're all done up. Last thing to do, take your plugs, pop them back on until you hear a click, each one. Last one. That's it, so they're all back on, and that's your spark plugs changed. Okay, cool. So the next job, we're going to replace the air filter. Pretty easy job, couple of clips, put the new element in, and the clip's done back up. Real simple job, anyone can do this, so let me show you how to do it. Okay, so looking in the engine bay, this is your air filter box or housing, and it's simply held with a clip there, and the other one you can see this side just there. Once they're popped out, at the back, down there, you'll see it holds in place there and over the other side just under this wire, and you slide it forward to release it out of those clips. So you're going to pop them two there off by hand, so one and the other one two. Once those are undone, it's these back ones then where it needs to slide out of, and then I'll show you what it looks like inside. Okay, so once you've undone them clips, as I said at the back, when you lift that up, you can then see the old element. This actually doesn't appear that dirty, but we're going to change it anyway. So simply pull that out by hand, pop the new one in, and then close the lid down, fasten the two tabs there and into the back, and then the filter will be changed. Okay, so I said this filter weren't that bad, and looking on the top of it, doesn't appear that bad. Flip it over, however, and then you can see what an absolute disgusting mess that is. So definitely due to be changed. This should make a nice bit of difference. And just for info, when you've got it empty, it's always a good idea, have a look inside. You can see down there a little bit of debris, some leaves. Just give that a hoover out or a clean out to make sure that there's nothing going to get sucked through or left in there when you put your new filter in. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so the new air filter's in. The box is secured back down. Last thing to do in the engine bay as such is just to fit that cover back on top of the engine there. And as you can see, these are the little lugs that secure it. So you've got one there, and then you've got one at the back there where it pops into. So I'll show you the cover. So on the reverse of the cover, you can see there the lugs and where they go. When you pop it on, you'll see that one goes into the back and then the ones at the front. So I'm just going to pop that on now. Okay, so the last job we're going to do is we're going to fit a new pollen filter, or cabin filter as they're known. To do this, you're going to have to open the glove box, and then on the side, just there, you're going to see an arm. You need to disconnect that. Once that's disconnected, you're going to squeeze the sides, each side, to allow the box lid to drop down. So if I show you the lid and the arm. So this arm here, to remove it, what you're going to do is just pull forward on it. That releases it. Then what you're going to do is at the side here, you're going to push in to release one side, and the other side push in as well, and then the box and the lid will drop down. Okay, so once you've squeezed that and it's dropped down, your lid's hanging down, behind inside the glove box, you're going to see where the panel filter fits, and that is right here. Okay, so to remove it, all you're going to do is lift the little panel here and then slide it until it comes out. And as you can see, this one is pretty filthy, pretty much the same as the air filter. So changing this is important because obviously you're breathing all of this crap in, and it's running through all your vents in your car. So remove that. You can then see you're left basically with the opening, and then all you do then is take your new filter as such. As you can see, nice new clean filter, and you'll see on it, it's got an arrow and it says airflow. Make sure that's the same, pointing downwards. You've got the little tab there, and all you do, line it up and slide the filter back in all the way to the end. Make sure it's pushed in, got a nice seal, and that's it. That's that changed. All you do then, refit your glove box back up simply by lifting this up as such, and then with the arm here, you can see it better now, that arm there simply clicks onto that, and that's your panel filter done. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Only a basic one, just a quick service. If you love Mazda content, then check out my channel. You'll see a lot of work being done on my track car that I'm currently building, and I've also got a lovely V-Spec MX-5 as well. I will upload various videos, all car content related. So you know, subscribe, give a thumbs up. I hope this video has helped you out in servicing your car. Take care, see you next time.